I used to cling to everything too tightly. People, plans, outcomes. I thought if I held on hard enough, then no one would ever leave, nothing would ever leave. And I was wrong. Because the tighter I held on to people, things, outcome, plans, the more life wriggled out of my hands. I was living in constant fear of losing what I loved. So I kept losing myself instead. That in itself is a cost of attachment. It turns into control. You don't notice it at first. You call it care, you call it passion, you call it loyalty. Then one day you're losing your mind because you cannot breathe without someone texting you back. You cannot sleep unless the future looks exactly how you picture it. You cannot hear your own voice over the noise of what if. I'll tell you what worked for me. I did not stop caring. I learned to care without clinging. I didn't stop loving. I learned that love grows better when it can breathe. I didn't stop dreaming. I just learned to build my dreams with open hands. Detachment is not cold. Detachment is clear. It is a choice to be rooted in your values rather than to be tangled in your fear. It is the freedom to show up fully without needing everything to go your way. Here's a truth I wish someone had told me sooner, is that you can hold on to something and still be free. You can be all in and still be okay if it ends. You can give your best and still sleep at night when it doesn't come your way and comes out of your hands. That is detachment, not distance, not apathy, not pretending. The practice of staying close while the world moves however it wants. There's a difference between intention and insistence. Intention says, I'll do my best. Insistence says, I must be this way or I will break. Intention lets you move. Insistence freezes you in place. You begin noticing how often your chest tightens when you say the words must and need. I must keep them. I need that outcome. I must be chosen, because every must pins you down. Every I need this ties you to a moving target. Detachment cuts those ropes one by one, not by force, but through clarity. Once I understood that, I began to replace my insistence with intention. I still plan, I still show up with energy, I still send the text, I still practice the skill. I just don't bleed for the answers that have not arrived yet. So here's a picture that helped me. Imagine your heart as a house with open windows. You can invite people in, you can enjoy the light, you can listen to music. The windows let the breeze move through. And the point is not to nail the windows shut so nothing and no one leaves. The point is to build a house so alive that even if someone steps out, you still have the music, you still have the light, you still have the space to dance however you want. That is detachment. You keep your windows open and you keep your house in order. I learned to see 3 zones. The zone I control, the zone I influence, and the zone I must release. My words, my effort, my routine, my boundaries, my attention sit in a zone I can control. The choices of others, the timing of opportunities, the weather of life sit outside. When I confuse these zones, I suffer. When I respect them, I breathe. I also learn to graduate from craving to choosing, because craving begs, choosing decides. Craving says, please choose me. Choosing says, I choose myself today. You're welcome to join me. When I act from a craving, I give my power away. But when I act from a place of choosing, I stay rooted and I still leave the room for connection. The energy feels different and people can feel it too. The mind plays tricks on us when the fear is lost. It tells you that one person is your only chance. It tells you that one path is your only path. It tells you that your worth is measured by what stays. And that's a lie. Your worth is not a hostage. Your worth does not move out when someone leaves. Your worth is not a shadow that disappears when the light changes. Your worth is the ground. Everything else is weather. Don't chase attention, chase alignment. If you must ask, are they mine? Then you've asked the wrong question already. The first question should be, am I mine? Make room for yes by not clinging to almost, because peace is expensive and we lose our peace when we continue giving it out as a discount. You'll find that detachment is a daily craft more than a single moment. It's like brushing your teeth, not a one-time whitening. You brush your mind, you rinse your attention, you floss your boundaries, you wake up and you choose to detach again and again and again. When the person you care about becomes the weather of your day, pause and return home to yourself. Ask yourself, what do I want to feel today that I can create without someone else? Confidence, movement, curiosity, calmness, People hear the word detachment and they think it means you don't call back, you don't show up, you don't try, you have this nonchalant demeanor. That's avoidance, not freedom. Detachment is not running away from your desire. Detachment is walking away with the desire without letting it walk you. You can want and still be wise. You can care and still be centered. You can be soft and still be sovereign. A lot of our attachment is really an unhealed story, trying to find a happy ending in someone else. You will notice the patterns. The person who reminds you of the parent who you could not please. The friend group that feels like the cool crowd that you never had access to when you were much younger. The job title that whispers that now you are enough. Detachment does not kill the story. The reason why detachment is so important is because it edits the story. It puts you in the lead role of your own growth. It says the sequel does not have to be a repeat plot of your childhood. It truly and can be a different story. Listen to the way you talk to yourself when you're afraid of losing something. Sometimes your words are the very cage that you lock yourself in. If you tell yourself that you will shatter, teach your nervous system to break at the very first sign of change. Try a softer truth. I will be sad and I'll be safe. I will grieve and I will grow. I will miss them and I'll meet more interesting, wonderful people. I will meet more of me, even better. Both can be true. The mind calms when it hears a bigger statement than that of panic or denial. Another shift for me was the idea of seasons. Not everything has to be a forever thing. Some people are just chapters. Some jobs are really just bridges. Some cities are classrooms. Meaning does not require permanence. A short song can change your mood. A short trip can change your life. A short love can change your heart. Detachment honors the season without demanding eternity. You say, it was so wonderful to have this feeling, to hold this person, without requiring for that moment to be permanent. There's a line I repeat when I feel a wave of neediness. Love me, but do not hold me for life support. Tension is oxygen to our egos, but connection is oxygen to our souls. And I often forget the difference. And that's when I start gasping. But when I remember, I start breathing again. That is when my relationship becomes lighter and deeper at the same time. Light because I'm not weighing them down with the fear of losing them. Deep because I show up from choice rather than from needing. I learned to plan for the loss of control before the actual moment arrives. You have to write your anchors when you're calm so you can hold them when you're not. 3 songs that help you return to yourself. 3 people you can call when you're breaking. 3 habits that keep you steady. You are not powerless. You are prepared for that moment. That is detachment. Here's another practice that changed my days. Before I pick up my phone in the morning, I pick up a question. Who do I want to be today? Not what do I want to have? Not who do I want to impress? Not what do I want to control? Who do I want to be? If the question is grounded, I choose the actions that build grounded. If the question is brave, I choose the actions that prove that I am brave. I let that identity lead. Outcomes, when I do that, follow more often than you think. I think as a recovering people pleaser, I used to think that boundaries would push people away. I learned that clear boundaries are invitations to the right people. They tell the world that this is how I love and here's how I stay healthy. They tell you that you can rest inside your own yes and your own no. If a person respects your line, they respect your life. If they don't, they were never holding you. They were only holding access to you. And there's a difference. And the beautiful thing about detachment is detachment does not numb you. It gives pain a path through. You can cry and still be clear. You can ache and still be anchored. You can wish that it had gone differently and still thank life for bringing you to the waters where you learned to swim. Sometimes the lesson is not what you gained. Sometimes the lesson is who you did not lose. You did not lose yourself. Say it with me and let it settle into your bones. I release what is not mine to control. I remain with what is mine to build. I refuse to abandon myself, to keep what will not stay. I'll be honest before I'm hopeful. I will be kind to myself while I am brave. I will not measure my heart by the weather outside. If you truly want to leave a mark on your future, you have to detach from being liked and start attaching to being aligned. Liking comes and goes with fashion. Alignment stays stays when the crowd moves on. When you choose alignment, you stop making decisions that betray you. You stop promising things your soul cannot afford. You start saying no to the shortcut that would cost you your self-respect. Detachment from approval gives you back your compass. You might be wondering how this looks in real life. It looks like waiting 5 minutes before you reply to a message that has triggered you. Using those 5 minutes to return to who you want to be. Remember that message that I text myself every morning. Who do I want to be today? It looks like telling yourself that I can want this and still be okay without it. It looks like saying no with a soft voice when your calendar is full. No, I can't make it. I'm not available for that. It looks like taking your value to bed at night even when the day did not clap for you. It looks like being generous without draining your own battery. It looks like choosing curiosity over catastrophes that you wrote in your head. I used to rehearse the worst case scenarios in the name of being ready. All that practice did was steal the energy I needed to handle the day when it arrived. Now I rehearse the best possible outcomes, the best effort scenarios. I see myself staying calm. I see myself answering with honesty. I see myself breathing through the discomfort. I still imagine the obstacles, don't get me wrong, but I imagine myself meeting them as the version I respect. That rehearsal is different. It's a different kind of readiness, not for the world to be easy, but for me to be anchored. Your attention is one of the most powerful currencies. Where it goes, life grows. So you ask yourself each day, what am I watering with my attention? The fear of being left, the story that I'm behind, the idea that I'm not lovable unless I'm perfect? Or am I watering my skills? Am I watering gratitude? Am I watering friendships that feel like sunlight? You cannot keep everyone. You're not supposed to. Some people are kind, but still not the kind for you. Some rooms are exciting and still not the right ones for your growth. Some goals sound impressive and still not aligned with your design. Detachment lets you go without vilifying. Bless what was and choose what is next. It leaves your heart clean. There'll be moments you forget. You'll scroll, you feel the pull to prove. You will run into the one who did not choose you, and you will find that familiar ache. You get an email that tempts you to sell your piece for a small prize. When you forget, remember again, you do not need a perfect record to live a free life. You need a practice of detachment. Detachment is a return to yourself. Align again and again until it becomes your home address. You're used to detaching. You know that it's not something you do out of spite. It's not something you do because it's a war. It's something you do for peace. I used to think I needed closure from others to heal. Then I learned that closure is a door I can close myself. It's literally that door that's open and you're asking someone else to please close it for me. Please help me close it. This is the only way I can move on. It's literally a door that you can close yourself. There's a sentence that says, thank you for the lesson, I release the rest. It is the choice to stop checking the handles at midnight. It is a note that you write to yourself that says, the chapter has ended and I made it out with my self-respect. I didn't always understand that. I didn't always do the best, but I do understand it now, and that is the closure that you need for yourself. You'll sleep better when you give it to yourself. So the next time you think you need closure, just remember that closure is a door that's open that can be closed by either one of you, and you can do that for yourself. If you're afraid that detachment will make you less loving, test it. Practice it for a week and watch what happens. You will likely become more present and not less, because you're not trying to be attached to everything and anything. You will listen better because you're not busy trying to engineer the outcome. You will give more honest compliments because you're not bargaining for reassurance. You will apologize faster because you're not defending a false image. You will laugh easier because you're not keeping score. Love does not need a grip. It needs space, honesty, and time. So the next time you feel that pull, here's a few questions that can help guide you when the feeling of wanting to cling shows up. What am I afraid will happen if I let this breathe? What part of me wants to prove something about me? Is my next action aligned with my values or with my fear? And if this ended, what part of me would still be intact? If I had to choose between being chosen right now and being honest with myself, which will I pick today? Ask and answer. The answers will not always be neat, but they will always be yours, and that is what matters. I want you to picture a version of your life where you are attached to the process and detached from the pressure. You wake up, you move your body because it keeps your promise to yourself. You study because you love your mind. You love how your mind wakes up when you study. You work on your craft because mastery feels like music. You make friends because shared joy multiplies joy. You love because love is a gift that you give and you receive. It's not a test that you must pass. You still want outcomes. You simply refuse to gamble your identity on them. And people will notice. They will say you feel lighter to be around. They will say you feel more present. They will say your eyes are calmer. That is a glow of someone who has stopped auditioning for their own life. That is the peace of someone who's learned to finally sit in their own seat and let the rest take its place. To the part of you that is scared to go, I see you. You learned that attachment is safety. You learned that if you held on tightly, maybe you would not be hurt. You did your best with what you knew. And now you know more. You can give yourself a different kind of safety, the kind that comes with trusting your own capacity to feel and to heal, the kind that comes from choosing truth over control. And if you're only learning this now, you are not behind. You are learning right on time. You do not need to erase your past to begin again. I feel like I was so embarrassed with the things I did when I was so attached. I was crashing out every single chance I can get. You can be proud of who you were trying to be while you are still becoming who you are. Here are a few lines that I keep close to help me regulate my nervous system. I will not put the key of my peace in someone else's pocket. I am not hard to love. I am learning to love myself in ways that make it easier for others to love me. Well, attention is love. I will give mine to what grows me. I will not be a passenger in my own life when I should be the one driving. When the time is right, it will align. I will not need to beg. And if it costs me my voice, it is too expensive. I can want something deeply and still be whole without it. My future does not depend on a single yes. My future depends on the daily yeses that I say to myself. And I used to think detachment meant I lose my fire. Now I see that it protects my fire from burning out. It turns that wild flame into a steady heat. It lets me cook a life that I can eat at my own table. That is what I want for you. Not a perfect story, not a life with no goodbyes. A life where you do not abandon yourself when the goodbye comes. So tonight when you put your head down, tell yourself this: I'm safe with me. I will not throw myself under the bus to keep a ride that is not going my way. I love people and I still let them be who they are. I can love my dreams and still let them change. I can love my life and still ask for more. I hope these words can hold you the way they've held me. Cheers.